David, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this takes place before he became king. Around the time Saul, he knew Saul was really trying to catch him. Well, David had gotten word that a little town called Keilah was being attacked by the Philistines. Well, he prays to God. He says, God, do you want me to go and help these people and defeat the Philistines? God answered his prayer and said, yes, I want you to go help those people. Well, David goes to all of his men because he's got him a little army, and his men are like, oh, we don't want to go fight the Philistines. The Philistines are big and scary. We don't want to fight them. And David says, well, God, I prayed to God, and he told me he wants us to fight him. But he said, I will pray again and double check. Well, that night he prayed again and said, Lord, my men are frightened about fighting. Do you think this is a good idea? Are we going to win? God answers back. He says, yes. You will. He says, you are going to go fight the Philistines in my name. So David told his men, and all of his men made their march to this here town. And guess what happened? They beat them. David and his army saved this little town. Well, a little while later on, they're still near that town or in that town, and he gets word that Saul is looking for him. Saul is out to arrest him. And David knows that if Saul gets him, Saul will kill David. Well, David prays. He says, if I stay in this town, or if I stay in any of these towns, is Saul going to get me? God says, yes. You need to take your people and you need to keep moving. So, what do you think David did? He kept moving. Well, he and his people were wandering all over the place, moving from place to place, keeping their head low so none of Saul's people would find out where they were. Well, Jonathan. Now, you guys might remember I told a story with Jonathan in it before too. Jonathan is Saul's son and was one of David's best friends. Jonathan found David, and he was talking with David. He said, come on back. He says, come on back to the towns. He says, I told my father that I was going to come and get you. He said, my father wouldn't dare touch you when you're under my protection. Well, David thought about this, and he remembered he had prayed before to God, asking if Saul was going to get him, if he stayed in any of these here little towns. Well, he says, no, Jonathan. He says, I can't go back with you. He says, I'm going to stay wandering around. And Jonathan left. What do you think would have happened if he would have gone back with Jonathan to the town or to the big cities or anywhere else?
He would have betrayed him.
Well, not necessarily. Jonathan and him were very good friends.
Not betrayed, but his dad would kill him.
But Jonathan could only do so much to protect David because Saul was the king. And, kings can do about what they want to do and get away with it. Well, he stayed up in the mountains and he stayed safe. And many years later, David did become king. But he would have never succeeded if he hadn't listened to God, both in fighting the battle with the Philistines and staying out of the cities where Saul would be able to find him.